Hello, Steve Arts 89, Trek Boy 89. I just watched Star Trek Discovery Season 4, Episode 2, Anomaly, and I did a review for it, and I actually went on really long, which I hadn't planned to, like 17 minutes. Now, I found the episode quite well done, and I connected a lot with the story and the characters, and I found it very emotional, and I got very emotional, I cried like a bitch, and it was a bit draining. And I kind of think I needed some therapy to talk through it, which is what the review became, so it was a bit long. So I thought I'd do a short review, just quickly. Basically, they go into this anomaly because they have analysed this anomaly from the outside. It's 5 light years wide. It's basically some kind of black hole, or combination of black holes and gravity wells and clouds, and it's just a mess. They don't know what it is, and they need to work out what it is so they can deal with it. So Discovery is sent in. They realise, of course, they can't literally go in, so they send Book's ship in. Book just decides to go himself. Basically, Burnham didn't want him to. She doesn't feel he's ready for it. He's still dealing with the loss from the last episode. They put Stamets on the ship as a hologram so he can process the data and everything. The two characters have a bit of a resolution because they apparently had issues. They weren't really friends, they weren't really connected, and they had to sort of work this stuff out. And also, Stamets was trying to help Book through his grief and so forth. He's hallucinating elements of the destruction of his planet because he's that traumatized, and he's feeling guilt and feels like he failed because he didn't basically save his family, that he had just sort of reconnected with his family and then lost it. So it's all very tragic. And once they get into near the anomaly, they actually are hit by these gravimetric pulses, I think they were, and they take the gravity offline. So everyone on the ship basically is lifted up and then dropped pretty brutally, which I don't understand why they couldn't program the gravity to come back on gradually. Why it just flicks on and they're just like dumped on the ground. It's pretty violent. But they don't. And they realise the ship can't take much more of this, and the gravity will eventually not come back on. So they decide they have to disconnect from Booker and his ship, which is tethered to them, so the data can be sent back through the hologram. And he, of course, gets pretty much lost in there, and they have to work out how to help him out. One of the other crew members suggests that he could ride the wave out from his experience with a hobby of kite flying or sailing. I can't remember what it was, but one of the crew members gets to stand out and take something from their life that contributes, and it adds to the idea of them being an ensemble that uses everyone's strength and individual information and knowledge to contribute and solve problems, which is part of Star Trek. So that was a nice. They've done nods to that a few times. It's always good to see. So he basically rides the wave out the second time. The first time he couldn't do it, and that just brought out all his feelings of failure for what happened with his family and everything. And Stamets does help him with that. They do talk. And he gets out and they realise that there really is nothing they can do, that the anomaly has changed. Now, whether it changed because of the interaction with the ship or whether it was just changing gradually, or whether it just randomly changes and shifts, but none of the data means anything because it's changed. It's changing form. So the idea of understanding it, predicting it, dealing with it seems a lot less possible at the end of the episode. Now, Tilly does a bit of work trying to, be in command. She sort of snaps at Adira at a moment, but Wilson Cruz's character, I can't remember his name, he helps her sort of deal with that. And Saru's back on the ship. He came on at the start of the episode. He's basically asked to be her second in command and help her out, and she appreciates that. There's a few good scenes with Burnham and her. And Sonika Martin Green does a better job with the character. I think she can act. I think the issue really was the direction of the character, that it was the character that was the problem, not her ability to act the character. So the scenes with her and Book are good, and the scenes with the actor David Ajala, I think that's his name, he was really good in this episode. He was really, like I said in my other review, he did a really good job with the emotions of the episode. And not a lot happened in that sense. but it did seem to a certain extent its own story within the overall story, because the part of the issue I have with Discovery is that they just tell one story per season, and it can be done in a way where you really feel like you don't get anywhere or do anything. It's just a part of a bigger story. The last few episodes have felt like stories within stories, which is the way that you do this. You have an element or a chapter which has to have its own sort of elements, whether it's a whole beginning and to end story or whether it's just situations and that. And it can be done where the overall story feels more like an overarching story as opposed to like a novel with chapters. So I enjoyed it more, hating it less, coming to terms with it, but at the same time I still have criticisms of it, and I will until either they change them or the show ends. But those can be done, rationally. So I'm going to do my best to be critical of the show. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks. Bye.